Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. And when you get to the top of the food chain in boxing, you got to learn to listen a whole lot and talk very little. And Derrick James, in my opinion, should have just kept his mouth closed about what may have gone wrong with Earl Spence. Because when you start coming out here and talking, right, especially with these boxing fans, no matter what you say, they're going to think you're making excuses, especially when you're talking about Earl Spence, the fact that you don't think he's going to be weight drained at 154 with the rematch with Crawford. Because all Crawford's going to say when he beats him again is, what y'all going to say now? Because that seems to be Crawford's motto. What you going to say now? Just like Jamel and Jamal Charlo, keep running your mouth. That's Crawford's thing. What y'all going to say now? And after he beats Spence and he goes up and he fights Zoo, and if he happens to beat him, what y'all going to say now? If he fights Jamel Charlo, becomes 3-time undisputed, what y'all going to say now? It's crazy to me. But there's an article out there, man, boxingscene.com. Go and check it out, man, where they're just saying that no one knows Earl Spence like Derrick James. And saying Derrick James, which we all know he taught Earl Spence to, hey, from throwing the jab, throwing the left hand, how to fight. He taught him everything. He got involved with Earl Spence after Earl Spence was already an amateur fighter. And his dad basically was like, hey, can you help him? And, they've been off to the races ever since then. But the concern is just Earl Spence normally looks very sturdy and very powerful. And all this is in the article on boxingscene.com. But people were just concerned seeing him get dropped the way he did by Crawford a couple of times and getting stopped in the ninth. Which, to me, that fight could have been stopped probably after that third round, especially that fourth round. But it is what it is. It went on, and he went out on the shoe, but he got beat down, man. He got beat bad, okay? But I'm going to tell you this right now. I was surprised that he activated the rematch clause. I wasn't surprised that he wanted to get back in the ring, but I'm surprised he reactivated because of just the damage he took and why put yourself at risk for another beating like that. But obviously, running things back is something that not only Spence wants to do, but that James wants to do. And he's saying right now, as far as the showdown taking place at 154, that for some reason it seems like they're waiting for a decision by Terrence Crawford. Now, I don't know all the specifics on that, but Derrick James does feel like, hey, if a fight happens at 154, you're going to see a completely different fighter with Earl Spence. Now, I'm going to tell you, when it comes to Terrence Crawford, look, I'm a common sense man. I know Crawford is going to have to think about making this fight at 154 and really be sure that's what he wants to do if the sanctioning bodies don't work with them. Okay? They got mandatories, man. They got guys at 147 who they want Crawford to defend his title against. And that's what sucks about being undisputed. If the sanctioning bodies don't work together, there's nothing Crawford can do, man. The sanctioning bodies don't work together, there's nothing he can do. I've done videos about this. Imagine the WBA and IBF both forced the mandatory on Crawford to go and strike a deal within 90 days, and they both dropped that on him at the same time. How in the world is he going to defend 2 belts from 2 different organizations in 2 different fights at the same time? He can't do it. So what happens? He gets stripped of a belt, or he drops all the belts and he bubbles up to 154. So hopefully they'll all work together. But that's what Crawford has to decide, because if he wants that direct path to getting close to that undisputed showdown, he gonna definitely want to hold on to that WBO. And then he can go straight for Zoo. And then from Zoo, if he gets through there, he can go to Crawford, go to Jamel. So it's not as easy as people think, but it depends on what's in that contract. Nobody knows what's in the contract. I get people coming on my channel telling me what's in the contract. You haven't read the contract. So hold your horses, don't take it to the stupid. Because I'm telling you, I haven't read it. And these other guys who have these channels talking about, oh, it's either going to be this or that. It's going to be, man, hold your horses, man. Stop it. Because they don't know. All right? The only people who know are probably the Showtime, the PBC, Crawford, Spence, and their teams. But we don't know. But obviously there's some kind of verbiage in there about the rematch and as far as what weight it'll take place at. But I'm telling you, man, the wild card in all this is the sanctioning bodies. But we got to wait and see how things go. But I'll tell you this right now. At least it's to Derrick James' credit, he's not taken away from Crawford's greatness. And I think he deserves to be lauded for that. because he was a boxer. And he knows what he was watching in that ring. Doesn't matter if that was his fighter or not, and he didn't like to see him getting beat down like that. But he know he was watching greatness. And he was probably saying to himself, Jesus Christ, man. Spence may have had a plan B for Crawford, but Crawford had a plan C. Spence may have had a plan C. Crawford had a plan D. But at some point, whatever plan Spence had, he ran out. And Crawford still had tools in the toolbox. You understand? And that's just where it went all wrong. And I think even at 154, even 160, it doesn't matter. I think Crawford gets him, okay? But at the end of the day, Crawford, he fought a good fight, the better fight. He was the man at the end of the night. And if the rematch happens at 154, I think he's going to be the better man then. And all he's going to say is, what you going to say now? Because they should not be out here making excuses. I like the fact that Earl Spence ain't saying nothing. But once they start this, I'm about to say all access. That's over now. But if the rematch happens and they get the cameras behind the scenes to, follow these guys and interview them, I'd be curious to hear what Earl Spence has to say. Or is he going to be smart and just say, no excuse, I lost. Eubank Jr. almost got it right with Liam Smith, but Eubank Jr. kind of said, hey, he hit me with an elbow. But he did. Eubank Jr. didn't make a whole lot of excuses. But once he got back into that ring, he handled business in the rematch. I would like to see Earl Spence take a similar approach, but just don't say anything, man. Just, hey, better man won. That's all I got to say. And then get in the ring and produce. Because I like Spence and Crawford. But when you see somebody get tore out the frame like that, man, it's kind of hard seeing them come back from that. That'll be like when Munguia fought Saddam Ali. And Munguia beat the life out of him and took his strap. That'll be like me saying, yeah, hey, Saddam Ali was fighting up too high. It was too much weight. And then saying if they come down and fight, that Saddam Ali has a better chance of beating Munguia. Look, when you get beat like that, the weight doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, anything can happen. But for me, I wouldn't put no money on it. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Derrick James, got to give him some credit for giving respect to Crawford, but at the same time, I just think he shouldn't be talking about the weight. Except, hey, we just feel 154 is a more comfortable weight for us. And just leave it as that. But he'll be stronger and he's going to be a better fighter. And, he was weight drained. Like, just chill. Just chill. We all know, everyone, whether you're a Crawford fan or not, we all know Earl Spence, it was hard for him to get down to 147. It's harder for him than Crawford. We know that. We know that. But that's a choice these fighters make to draw their weight down to a moment in time for a weigh-in so they can have the advantage when they go into the fight on fight night. It just so happened the advantage wasn't there. Right? He was devoid of that advantage that he was accustomed to having. Okay? That being said, man, y'all keep cool. I'm going to go chill. I'm out feeling better. And I'm in the breeze.